ನೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿರಿ, ನೆಕ್ಕರು ಸತ್ತ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು ವಿಷಯ ಅದಾನೋ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಮೋದಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಣ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ, ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡೋಣ ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಮಲಗೇ ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಲ್ಲೇ. ಹಂಗೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಚಿಂತೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಈಗ ದೇಶಕ್ಕಾಗಿ.
ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಅದು ಒಂದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾವು ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಡೆತ್ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮೊದಲೇನೆ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈಗೂ ಹೇಳಿನಿ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಯಾರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಅಸೂಯಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯದಂಗಿದೆ. ಆ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ನೀವು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡೆತ್ ಈಸ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್.
Now, the BJP was not going to take this down lightly. One leader, top of them, one after another, lined up to slam the Congress party, Mallikarjun Kharge specifically. The Chief Minister of Karnataka, Bastar was one of the first ones to respond. He came out and said that Mallikarjun Kharge's mind is poisonous and this shows prejudice towards Prime Minister Modi and the BJP. Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar then came out and said that Karnataka will never forgive or forget or even vote for the Congress party because of such commentary coming to the fore from the highest within the party. Prakash Javadekar, a member of parliament and a former union minister, also came out and said that this is reflection of sheer frustration and a defeatist mindset of the Congress party. Dharmendra Pradhan, union minister, again came out and said that Mallikarjun Kharge making such comments is only doing so to please his masters. Anurag Thakur, Union INB minister, then came out and said that nobody considers Mallikarjun Kharge as the Congress president. Hence, he is desperate, once again hinting at the remote control allegation that the BJP has been making all along. Now, whether that narrative resonates or not, voters will decide on the 10th of May. But elections are about pre-poll promises, and the Congress has been making a slew of them, a list of guarantees that they are offering to the voters if the Congress is voted to power. One such promise that has been made by the Grand Old Party and by the former Chief Minister of the state, Siddaramaiah, is on reservations. Siddaramaiah came out yesterday and said that the Congress is committed to increasing the quota limit in the state to 75%. Right now, remember, it's at 50%. The 50% cap on reservation should be removed, is the Congress's pitch. Siddaramaiah and other Congress leaders have also said that that quota should be increased based on caste population. A certain caste which has a very high population but has no representation in quota will also be looked into. Caste-based census should be included in the next census is also another demand that has been made by the Congress party. Earlier, Mallikarjun Kharge had written to the Prime Minister as well, demanding caste census and such data to be made public so that an informed decision can be made. Now, the Congress is looking to consolidate the scheduled caste and OBC votes specifically in the state of Karnataka. The party has reignited the issue of caste census in the last few days. Like I said, Mallikarjun Kharge even wrote to the Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi too made an aggressive pitch for a caste-based census and for the removal of that 50% ceiling as set by the Supreme Court when he was addressing a rally in Kolar in Karnataka. So why exactly is the Congress making this renewed push? There are several reasons. One is to woo Vokaligas and Lingayats who demanded a quota hike. Remember, recently, the BJP government did give 2% each to both those communities when the 4% quota was scrapped for Muslims. Another reason why the Congress is making this renewed push is that Dalits, OBCs comprise of about 40% of Karnataka's population. Now that 40% vote bank is what the Congress is looking to tap into. Reason number 3 is that they think they can attract Muslim voters as the BJP wants to abolish the Muslim quota. Now, there's still a legal hurdle as far as that scrapping goes, but the BJP is firm on scrapping it if voted to power and if that legal hurdle is crossed in the Supreme Court. Now, the Congress also believes that it may clean up Congress's anti-OBC image after Rahul Gandhi's surname remark and the defamation case that followed, which is also why they are making this renewed caste-based census and caste-based quota push. Now, let's take a look at what the reservation currently looks like in the state of Karnataka and whether or not Congress's this pitch is even feasible. Now, according to the current system, backward classes are getting 4% reservation. Similar situation with the OBCs as well in the state. Right now, they get 15% reservation under category 2A. That will remain the same. Muslims were getting 4% reservation under category 2B. That has now been scrapped by the Karnataka government. That decision is still pending in the Supreme Court. Vokaligas are getting 4% reservation under category 2C, which will now be increased to 6% post the changes made by the Basavaraj Bommai government and the 2% quota that was removed from them. Hence, under this category now 2D, Lingayats were getting 5% reservation. That too will now be increased to 7%. The remaining 2% from Muslim quota has been added here in this particular category. Scheduled castes get 15% reservation that was hiked by the government to 17% last year. While scheduled tribes get 3% reservation, that was increased to 7%. The bill passed to hike the SC/ST quotas also under challenge because it increased the 50% cap on the state, a 50% ceiling that the Supreme Court has asked for. Now, there is a 10% quota for economically weaker sections as well. That remains over and above the 50% cap on quota. So, in totality, Karnataka now has 66% quota in jobs and educational institutions. So, can they actually push that forward, and will that pass the legal hurdle? That is also something that we will discuss in the course of the next half an hour. But what is important is that the Congress is making these renewed pushes like in any other election-bound state on multiple fronts. Like I said right at the start, a lot is riding on this election. It's not just about one state or the 224 assembly segments in Karnataka. Here is what is at stake for the grand old party. One, it's very, very important for the Congress to stay relevant to win this state of Karnataka. Now, in southern India, not a single state has a Congress government presently. This win in Karnataka would also be a morale booster for the cadre, not just in Karnataka, but the rest of the country as well. We're not very far away from the 2024 general elections, which also brings me to how many Lok Sabha MPs Karnataka sends to the parliament. It's 28 Lok Sabha MPs. It's going to be extremely crucial come 2024. The good show in this election will impact the local body elections in Bengaluru, in the IT capital of the country, the BBMP elections in December as well. Now, loss in Karnataka, if that happens for the Congress party, will further fuel infighting within the party, especially in that particular unit, and it could have an effect, a repercussion on the rest of the country as well. So that brings us to the question we ask here on Plain Speak. From Gali politics, from insulting the Prime Minister to playing the caste card, is this last mile desperation for the Congress party?
ನೀವಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ವಿಷಯ ಅದ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡೋಣ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ನೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿರಿ. ನೆಕ್ಕರು ಸತ್ತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ವಿಷಯ ಅದನೋ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಮೋದಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಣ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ.
There is a poison in the mind of Kharge.
अभी देश में कानून है 50 से ज्यादा नहीं होना। सिद्धरामैया किधर से दे देंगे, किधर से उसका पॉकेट से दे देंगे क्या?
A lot is at stake, a lot is riding both for the BJP and the Congress. But what explains the kind of promises that we are seeing from the Congress party especially? Debate that. Joining me on this broadcast, the spokesperson of the BJP, Guru Prakash Paswan. Dhruv Jati of the Congress in Karnataka is also with me. Author and senior journalist Rashid Kidwai is also with us on this broadcast, and advocate Aditya Srinivasan joins me as well. But I want to begin by asking Dhruv Jati, the kind of comments that we saw from Mallikarjun Kharge, he then came out and clarified and said that, I wasn't really making a personal attack on the Prime Minister. I was talking about the BJP as a whole. But then we have his son, Priyank Kharge, coming out and listing reasons as to why the Prime Minister is poisonous, in fact. So which side should we believe?
See, AICC chief Mallikarjun Kharge ji is a very tall leader that comes from the backward classes in Karnataka, from Kalyan, Karnataka's Gulbarga district, right? He's issued a clarification very clearly stating that he was speaking about the entire Bharatiya Janata Party system and not the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's office deserves to be respected. Every citizen must respect it. But the Prime Minister, if so abusing the power, has every right to be questioned. AICC chief has come out with a clear clarification that he was speaking about the BJP system and he called it poisonous. If you have to ask me, and if you go to the people of Karnataka on the streets today, I think using the word poisonous is something that's very soft. The people of Karnataka who have been cheated by the Bharatiya Janata Party would have much harsher words to use and much derogatory words to use to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Let me also remind you that the Prime Minister just yesterday in a conclave went on to speak about mental health in a very funny manner, where he went on to mock mental health, right? And this is the Prime Minister of the entire country over here who's speaking.
Sure.
He went to a program in Kerala, an official program, where he was wearing the Bharatiya Janata Party's badge. And if you have to speak about the long list of slurs that the Bharatiya Janata Party has made, I have close to about 150 slurs. Jersey cow, from hybrid calf to 50 crore girlfriend to, Barwala. There are many crazy terms that the Bharatiya Janata Party has put all together. The fact is that the Karnataka election is going to be fought on the local issues on the whole. What's happened today
Sure.
is something that's not going to affect the voters. The voters are worried about the 40% commissions, the Nandini cooperative, various other issues which are deeply impacting them on their daily life. Let's also remember what Amit Shah came and said yesterday. Even our PCC president and our general secretary has gone ahead and filed a complaint on his terms when he went to threaten the people of Karnataka. Let's also remember what JP Nadda went to Haveri and spoke about, saying that the people of Karnataka will not have the blessings of Modi if the Congress party comes to power. The Bharatiya Janata Party is left with nothing but to threaten the people of Karnataka. And the people of Karnataka are going to show it to them on May 10th.
Sure. So are you saying this is a tit-for-tat sort of politics and that's something that should be okay with just because the BJP does it and they use slurs against certain members of the opposing sides? Then if the Congress does it, why question us? Is that what you're trying to say?
See, he's clearly come out with a clarification. He said that he's speaking about the BJP system. And, even if you want to speak about the BJP system, let's recall a press note in which Santosh Patil's family had spoken about how the BJP's cadre is entirely poisoned when he had committed suicide and named Mr. Ishwarappa. When their own BJP people themselves are saying that the system is worse than poisonous, Congress party has every right to say that the system is poisonous. And he's speaking about the party, mind you, not about any specific person.
Sure. Guru Prakash Paswan, it's not about the Prime Minister's office. It's not about one specific person. It's about the ideology of the BJP, and that is poisonous. So all the Congress was trying to do is caution the voters of Karnataka. That's the defense. Do you buy it?
A very warm good evening to you and my fellow panelists. We must understand that this is a new low in the political discourse of the country. When, as a citizen, we are concerned about talking about politics of issues, politics of ideas, but you are constantly attacking and insulting a prime minister who comes from a very humble background, who comes from an extremely backward caste. What is your agenda? And let me also remind the viewers that Office of Prime Minister is an institution within the Constitution of India. If you insult the Office of Prime Minister, you are showing that you have no faith, you have no respect for the Constitution of India, for the makers of the Constitution of India, including Baba Saheb Ambedkar. But we must also remember, historically, the feudal mindset of the Congress establishment, the feudal mindset of the Congress leadership towards the leaders from the marginalized communities has been such. Congress insulted Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Congress insulted tall Dalit leader Babu Jagjeevan Ram. Congress insulted its own president Sitaram Kesri. Congress insulted P.V. Narasimha Rao. So we know, history knows, there are sufficient evidences to establish the Congress party's elitist and feudalistic mindset. We are expecting, and I'm speaking not as a political person, I'm speaking purely as a citizen of this country. We are interested in knowing about your ideas. What are your ideas about Karnataka? What are the issues? But constantly, if the Congress top leadership is speaking such language about the office of Prime Minister, this is something which concerns me. This is something which bothers me. It is a challenge, and we need to collectively come together. We need to collectively come together and do a more nuanced and a more mature political discourse which is beneficial for this country. But right from Maut Ka Saudagar and so many things, Nichi Jati, aap aakar ke chai bechiye Congress convention mein, this is what senior Congress leader Manishankar Iyer said. Who is going to apologize? A clarification is not enough. A clarification is not sufficient. We need apology. We need a clear-cut explanation. What were the reasons? And like you rightly pointed out, that soon after the clarification of Mr. Kharge, his son Priyank Kharge comes and again perpetuates that statement. What is your idea? Where are your issues that you're not talking about? And I'm going to say this today. On 10th of May, we would see the people of Karnataka like previously in 2014 parliamentary elections, in 2019 parliamentary elections. People of Karnataka have shown you the door. Please make some amendments.
And it's not just about Karnataka. Dhruv Jati, you said that these kind of things don't have an impact on the voters' mind. There are more issues that they need to think about, and that's really what the voters thinking about. But if you look at the trend and the comments that were made, right from Maut Ka Saudagar in 2007, when Sonia Gandhi had made that in the context of before the Gujarat elections, BJP won 107 seats in Gujarat, that assembly elections. Cut to what happened in 2022. Same state, again we have Mallikarjun Kharge himself go out and make the Ravan comment. Then too we saw the BJP come back with a thumping victory. So clearly this is something that perhaps weighs on the minds of the voters.
Not at all, not in Karnataka especially.
Dhruv Jati, yes. Dhruv Jati, go ahead.
Yeah, Poonam, not at all, not in Karnataka. And like Mr. Paswan said, let's speak about issues. More than ready to talk about issues. Let's speak about what Modi was doing when CM Bommai was under his nose putting across all the 40% scams. When Modi comes to Karnataka in the next week, is he going to visit Santosh Patil's house along with Ishwarappa? Is he going to do that? Does he have a face to show at the Nandini Dairy Cooperative? Is he going to go and tell them that Amul is going to take over? What is he going to speak to the unemployed youth of Karnataka? How is he going to speak to them about the 2.5 lakh jobs that are vacant? Is he going to speak to the students who are cheated in the PSI scam? I'm talking about issues. You're asking about what Congress party is doing. We have 4 full-fledged guarantees that is accommodating the entire society and the strata of Karnataka put together. What is the Bharatiya Janata Party doing? Very simple. Ignoring development, not able to speak about issues that concern the people, not able to have an answer on the 40% commission altogether, having star campaigners who are coming over here and trying to create religious rifts and community rifts within Karnataka, trying to make it a war of communities in the state. That's what's happening over here. And the people of Karnataka are not stupid. And let me remind you that in 2018, Bharatiya Janata Party was not even voted into power. They were the ones who purchased the MLAs and then formed the government. You think the people of Karnataka will forget that? They remember it very clearly. And on May 10th, you're going to have all your answers set straight. And let Mr. Modi ji come to Karnataka and answer these questions that I've put to you.
And Dhruv Jati, because you bring out the 4 guarantees that you're making, Mr. Paswan, I can see you raising your hand, but I need to get in the 2 other gentlemen on the panel as well. I'll come back to you. But because the Congress raised the 4 guarantees that they have been giving to people, that also includes raising the cap on reservations from 50 to 75%. And I want to get in the advocate on this panel to actually talk about whether this is an empty promise or it's actually feasible. Aditi Srinivasan, can it actually pass the legal hurdle? There is a cap of 50% on reservations as put forth by the Supreme Court. Can then a politician go ahead and promise raising that cap to 75% and then want the voters or the people to believe that it's actually doable? Is it doable?
Yeah, look, firstly, can I just say it's such a pleasure to be on a panel with my dear friend Guru Prakash, with whom I've had many such discussions during our college days. But to come to your question, Poonam, what the Supreme Court has said in this economically weaker sections judgment, which came out not very long ago, is that this ceiling of 50% is sort of inflexible in the sense that you actually have the ability to tinker around with that a little bit. I suppose the short answer to your question is, can you actually go from 50% to something higher than that? I suppose you could, but the modalities of how you go about doing that can be quite challenging, can be quite tricky, and I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for any state government or for any political party to try and casually raise that limit up to 75%. It's not going to be easy.
Right, it's not going to be easy. Whether the voters actually think this is an issue, that is something that weighs on their mind, that we'll have to wait and watch out for. But Rashid Kidwai, there are multiple issues that have been put forth in this particular election. Yes, we need to talk about issues. There are local infrastructure issues that are an issue. Development is something that we need to speak of. But unfortunately, there is one leader from either sides of the spectrum, and we see this every election. The discourse by someone or the other is always lowered, irrespective of party lines. Isn't that the most unfortunate bit, Rashid Kidwai?
Yes, Madam, indeed, in a parliamentary democracy, there should be some decency in public life and it should hold good for all political parties and leaders. But I think the response that, we are talking about, the way BJP goes about, highlighting if anything is said against Prime Minister Modi as if it's a game changer. My own thing is it's a very simplistic way of looking at it. Had, Sonia Gandhi not made that remark, Maut ka Saudagar, do you think the outcome of Gujarat elections would have been different when Mr. Modi was the chief minister? Or Manishankar's years that, it was a reprehensible remark, I must insist, but you see, it would not have altered the outcome of 2014 election. So my point is, Karnataka elections is a complex thing. Either people are going to vote for Mr. Bommai and BJP in Karnataka or vote against. It is not going to swing just because Mr. Kharge has made one remark. And Mr. Kharge has himself distanced from that. So that should be taken on a face value. The BJP seems quite desperate. They always have their ministers join. It's like a template they have got. Every time something happens, there are 10 ministers come and they talk about it. And Karnataka elections is not, Mr. Modi is not a chief ministerial candidate in Karnataka. Why is there such a big fuss being made about it? If somebody has said it, he spoke in Kannada, he has apologized or is distancing, he's saying he's not mean it, we must accept that and end the matter.
Mr. Paswan, if you take the comment at face value, then why not take the clarification at face value?
Poonam, the issue is not about clarification. The issue is not about ignorance. The systematic mindset of the Congress party. This is not the first time, and I'm sure, sadly, unfortunately, this is not the last time as well. Congress party constantly insulting. It was none other than the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, saying things about the President of India, who is first time in the history we have a Adivasi ki beti at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and the Congress party could not digest it. It was none other than Congress official spokesperson who have insulted the lady from the tribal community who has reached the highest constitutional office in the country. Should we not speak about it? You cannot take us for granted. This is the month of April. We celebrate Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And Baba Saheb Ambedkar said a very prophetic thing. He said on 26th of January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. We will have equality in politics, but we will have gross social and economic inequality. This is the social inequality which is at exhibition here by the Congress party. I would like to respond to my friend from the Congress party. It was the Congress party in Karnataka that conducted the caste census. Why did you not put the record in public? Point number one. Point number two, the Karnataka budget allocation from central government to state government has more than doubled and the BJP has been in power. What is your explanation to it? You have no evidence to establish, and I'm not going to indulge in rhetoric. What about this 40%? You have one evidence. I challenge you on this show tonight. If you have one evidence, produce it and go to the people of Karnataka. And as far as your allegation on MLAs are concerned, it shows that you absolutely have no faith in your own MLAs, you have no faith in your own cadre, and that is very much on the face of it by the feud and the conflict between Mr. D.K. Shivkumar and Mr. Siddaramaiah. You have no faith in your cadre, you have no faith in your leader, you have no conversation on ideas, no conversation issues. That is why you are indulging in such a low political discourse. It is the Congress party that has to face the music come the May 10th, and constantly you can insult us, you can insult the backward, you can insult the marginalized, but the nation has changed now. Post 2014, we need politics of performance. Please let us know what are your ideas and don't indulge in this empty rhetoric. This is the simple request that we have from the Congress party, Poonam.
Dhruv Jati, several questions there being raised as far as the caste quota promises made. And you heard the advocate on the panel as well saying that, sure, there may be some sort of flexibility, some sort of elbow room here and there, but the 50% cap still stays. So then the promises that you are making, are they actually doable? Is it something that you promise to do with implementing them if you come to power, or is it just something that is going to be a poll rhetoric?
Poonam, just before I come that, I have a long list of slurs that the Bharatiya Janata Party goes on to make in response to the BJP spokesperson. And to the second question, in response to that, Mr. Siddaramaiah has come out and said that when the Congress party is formed, he's going to put up a special committee that is going to look into the corruption that was done by not just Bommai, but the entire Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, coming to your question about reservation, the Congress party and the Bharatiya Janata Party on the whole have two contrasting opinions on reservation. Mr. Siddaramaiah ji's question was very simple. In layman's term, if the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to exceed the cap of 50% by 6, why can't it be brought to 75% when it accommodates all communities put together? Now, when we speak about the Bharatiya Janata Party's claim with the reservation to 6%, none of their claims on the whole, it was just a 1.5-page interim report that was conducted, had no empirical data on the whole, and they wanted to scrap the government. They wanted the government to scrap the entire quota for Muslims. Now, whether you see it from the Nangana Gowda Commission to Havnur Commission to Justice Chinnappa Reddy's Commission, all of them have categorized the Muslims as backward classes, right? So now the Congress party is a party that looks at social justice and working on the upliftment of SCs and STs. That's very important. The central government hasn't had a census in 2011, again in response to the BJP spokesperson. Just when the census was almost ready, it was Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy, that was the chief minister, who did not implement it. You should be questioning him. And after that, your party had the census. Till today, it hasn't implemented it. Why so? Is it not appeasing your vote bank politics? Right. So now coming back to the whole point is that we require a caste census that needs to be done on the whole. Our leader, Shri Rahul Gandhi, has been emphasizing on this time and again. And if there is any change in reservation that needs to be put together, it has to be done with a census and with empirical data on the whole, not with just a normal report that consists of 1.5 pages, right? And the BJP is very much aware that this report is going to get scrapped off by the SCs, just done to appease their vote bank politics. So even if you go through the Indira Savni versus the Union of India judgment, the cap is 50%, but in exceptional circumstances, it can be raised. And what the Congress party is saying is that when there is a census put forth, and the social strata of Karnataka, which is extremely diverse on the whole, our preliminary research as of now, what it says is that we have to be more inclusive with the reservation, right? And once the party is in power, we're going to go ahead with a complete census, and that is going to prove to the people of Karnataka as to why it needs to be raised to 70%. If so, that is what our leader, CLP leader, Mr. Siddaramaiah ji, has said. Not like the Bharatiya Janata Party that has gone in and sent a 1.5-page interim report, knowing that it's going to be scrapped just to appease the vote bank.
Mr. Paswan, if you think that the Congress's promise is not going to pass the legal hurdle, then the BJP's decision to scrap the 4% quota for Muslim has also hit a legal obstacle. The Supreme Court has come down heavily, if not an adverse order, but the Supreme Court has come out and said that prima facie it looks like it's a flawed argument. It's on shaky grounds.
We have to understand one simple thing. I was patiently listening to my friend from the Congress party. He said that a special inquiry committee would be formed. What is happening in Rajasthan? Why is the senior Congress party leader Sachin Pilot up in arms against the chief minister of Rajasthan?
Let's speak about Karnataka, sir. Elections here in a few weeks.
I did not speak when you were speaking, sir. Let's have level of respect and dignity, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I did not speak here. Thank you. So similar promises. You should understand the mindset of the Congress party, the modus operandi of the Congress party. Similar promises were made in Rajasthan, but Mr. Sachin Pilot is up in arms against the present Chief Minister of Rajasthan for not fulfilling those promises. Point number one. Point number two, I would like to thank my friend for admitting that they conducted the caste census, but they did not release the result of the caste census. They did not make it public. Second, they're talking about social justice. Look at it historically. The first backward classes commission, Kalaburagi commission, who was responsible for pushing that recommendation? It was the Congress party. It was the Congress party Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji who on the floor of the parliament opposed the recommendation of Mandal Commission, sir. So you have absolutely no locus standi, absolutely no moral authority to speak on social justice. How many Dalits have been the president of Congress party? Zero. Absolutely zero. So I don't think we have any explanation
Sir,
to do.
Mr. Kharge ji is a Dalit, just so you know.
I did not... let us have a level of your...
Yeah, Mr. Paswan, you've made your point. I'm running short of time. Yeah, Mr. Paswan, I'm running short of time. You've made your point. Dhruv Jati, go ahead.
Yeah, see, I mean, if he's being factually incorrect, then I have to correct him. I have no option. Now, speaking about the caste census, I said that it was almost done. The Bharatiya Janata Party has a knack of misunderstanding things. I don't understand why. What the Congress party is speaking about is about a 75% increase that doesn't enfranchise community as to what the Bharatiya Janata Party is doing. Very simple.
It is an anti-democratic, family-based enterprise.
I request you both gentlemen to stay on with me. The back and forth of allegations will keep going, but even as we speak, Mallikarjun Kharge, I'm given to understand, has just released a statement, and he said, if my statement has hurt anyone, if it was misconstrued and distressed anyone, anyone. I will express regret for it. All I said was that there are the ideological differences and that the RSS and BJP's ideology is poisonous. If my statement has hurt anyone, I will express special regret. It isn't right to twist my statements, but my fight against the RSS and BJP and its ideology will continue. That's the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge expressing regret. Mr. Paswan, 30 seconds to you. Is this acceptable? Will this end the debate now?
The Congress Party and the President of the Congress Party has come out with this apology. We welcome that apology, but we also insist that the Congress Party and its top leadership must come out of this feudal mindset. Repeatedly, you are showing that Congress is a feudal institution. Congress is an elitist institution. Congress is an anti-democratic institution. Why are you indulging in insulting and attacking the personality of people like Honorable Prime Minister, people like Honorable President? Because you are not able to digest the simple fact that people from Dalit community, people from tribal communities, they can go and be at the topmost position in the government. Be ready for this change. Be ready and be warm to these changes. This is the real social justice.
But we do hope at least this debate ends. Rashid Kidwai, we do hope at least these kind of discussions end right now. And let's talk about the issues that actually matter.
That is the thing. I think parliamentary democracy is a gentlemanly manner in which Mr. Kharge has regretted or apologized. Mr. Paswan and his party should accept it. There should be some grace. Because if we go on talking about it, there is no point. But the fact of the matter is, Poonam, it pains me to say that there is an absolute, trust deficit between these national parties. And therefore, that is the root cause of problem. Root cause of problem is not what leaders say as far as the moment. Root cause of problem is that Mr. Paswan's party and the Congress, they don't have respect for each other. And in parliamentary democracy, they must have. Whoever is in opposition or in power at all, that's insignificant.
Sure. It's the political discourse that needs some sort of monitoring, that needs some sort of self-restraint as well as far as poll promises are concerned. Many parties make these promises before elections. Voters on ground do believe that some of them are fulfilled, some of them are not. Whether that party is brought back to power or not, that is something that the voter will decide in the end. Whether these issues, these kind of statements remain in the minds of the voters, whether these promises, like the Congress is making, the guarantees as they call it, is that something that will ensure that they win this state as they would like to believe, or can the BJP actually create history in the state of Karnataka? We'll find out on the 13th of May when it's result day. I have to leave it at that, but I thank you all gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast with your perspective. We are shifting focus now to the big story that is happening here in the national capital, and that is between India and China. Now, close to 3 years ago, 20 of our jawans were martyred in Galwan. It was an unprovoked attack from Chinese PLA side. Now, for the first time since then, India and China are at the talks table. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be holding a bilateral with Chinese Defence Minister in just a few minutes from now here in Delhi. This bilateral meeting is on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation meeting tomorrow. Now, India, which is chairing the Eurasian Regional Forum this year, has a range of bilateral issues to discuss with its fellow SCO members. There are several other bilaterals outside of China also that are on the docket for the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, both today and tomorrow. But the prime focus is going to be on this particular bilateral, which starts in a few minutes from now with the Defence Minister of China. Disengagement and de-escalation of border confrontation is going to be primarily focused. Transgressions and provocations both in Ladakh and Arunachal are going to weigh heavy on Raksha Mantri's mind when that meeting happens. Now, we saw 3 days ago, India and China had held the 18th round of commander-level talks over disengagement at the line of actual control. This is 18 rounds since we've seen the kind of transgressions that have happened in Galwan. Both sides said that they had a frank and in-depth conversation on the friction areas. There are at least 2 that remain now, Depsang and Demchok. China's foreign ministry has said that after the meeting, according to common understanding of the leaders of both countries, the 2 sides have now held in-depth exchange of views on expediting the resolution of relevant issues, which essentially means that there has been no breakthrough as far as Depsang and Demchok are concerned, at least in the 18th round. Now, so far, both sides have disengaged in at least 4 other areas along the line of actual control in the eastern Ladakh area. There are buffer zones that have also been set up. But these two sticking points still remain. Here's a breakdown of what exactly happened during that Corps Commander meeting that happened 3 days ago. Corps Commander on both sides, the talks were held on the 23rd of April. Both sides had a candid exchange of views on relevant issues. They agreed to maintain close contact. The agreement is going to continue dialogue and to speed up the settlement. They also agreed to maintain peace and tranquility in border areas. Meanwhile, even as we're seeing these talks happen, both at the military level and now at the diplomatic level as well. But the provocations coming in from the Chinese side continue unabated, and it's not just Eastern Ladakh. We've seen these provocations as far as Arunachal is also concerned. The renaming controversies that we've seen, 3 provocations in 6 years. It started in 2017 in April when China renamed 6 places in Arunachal Pradesh. This move was after the Dalai Lama's visit. They wanted to make Arunachal Pradesh a part of their territory. In December of 2021, China released a standardized name of 15 places that were marked on the Chinese maps. They were marked as South Tibet and not as Arunachal Pradesh that is in Indian territory. In 2023, in April this year, which is this particular month, 11 places again were renamed by China in Arunachal Pradesh. It even includes a town near the capital of Arunachal Pradesh, near Itanagar, and yet they want to have a claim on this particular territory. So the provocations continue both in Eastern Ladakh and in Arunachal along the line of actual control. We've seen the kind of infrastructure build-up that has also happened along the line of actual control on the Chinese side. So today, in a few minutes from now, when both defense ministers sit down at the talking table, what's on the agenda? Is there a border thaw that we could see? That's the big debate. Before I get in both my panelists, we are getting some news coming in that the bilateral, in fact, has begun between Li Shangfu, Defence Minister of China, with his counterpart here in India, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. Akash, my colleague, getting us the details on that. Akash, in a few minutes from now, we perhaps could be seeing some photo opportunities, some photos coming out of that meeting. How long are we expecting this engagement to go on for?
So yes, first of all, this meeting has begun. In fact, just few minutes back, we have got this from our sources which are present inside the particular venue. And in fact, this is the most awaited meeting of the day. Total 4 bilaterals were planned for this particular day, and China was the last one for this particular day. 6:30 is the time when it has got started, and now we are expecting that it will go till 7 or 7:25 or 7:15. It can go to any time near that. Also, it is very important, Poonam, because as you rightly mentioned, there are a number of issues. Other than the regional peace and security, we know about the Galwan clash in 2020, and this is first meeting between the defense ministers after Galwan clash. We know that Li Shangfu has assumed the office in March 2023, and this is his first visit to India. So this meeting is very, very important. Both the countries are going to discuss a number of issues, specifically the issues of Eastern Ladakh sector. This is what we are expecting. In fact, 18th round of commander level talks happened on 23rd of April. Nothing concrete came out, and this is why people are very hopeful. Depsang and Demchok are 2 areas where India wants disengagement. In fact, buffer zone strategy is what people are talking about. In fact, in commander level talks, in fact, we are learning from our Indian Army sources that this was the very same thing that was discussed, but nothing was the outcome of that particular meeting. Now, yes, everyone is hopeful ahead of this SCO's defense ministers meet that is going to happen tomorrow. This meeting is very significant. In fact, defense ministry sources are confirming that we can expect some sort of statement after this particular meeting.
Absolutely, and all eyes will be on that meeting. For the moment, Akash, thank you so much for getting us the latest. We'll keep coming back to you. But what exactly are we expecting from this particular meeting? Whether there is going to be a thaw in the ties that we've seen between the 2 countries. To decode that, joining me on this broadcast is former diplomat Ashok Sajanhar. Andrew K.P. Leong, international and independent China strategist, also joins me. Ashok Sajanhar, I'd like to begin by asking you, can we expect something concrete to come out of this meeting?
Well, we've just had, as your correspondent also just now mentioned, that we had the meeting of the army commanders just a few days ago, and nothing really came out of that. Now, if China was waiting that, when the defense minister comes here, and then he is going to show something, show his hand, offer something, then that could be one particular aspect, but I don't really see anything happening on that score. You have mentioned, the large number of provocations that have taken place in recent months, not going back even to when the Galwan took place, 2020. But even in more recent months and in weeks, we have seen that there have been provocations. So we have not seen anything on the part of China to lessen the tensions in any way. So I don't really foresee anything happening on that front, anything positive coming out of that front. What I've seen really China doing is in this region that it has been flexing its muscles. And I think both sides will have their say. They will read out their official positions, mention their official positions. But I don't foresee anything positive in terms of either de-escalation or disengagement on the two outstanding issues that happening during this particular meeting. Poonam.
Andrew K.P. Leong, can we expect much from the Chinese side? Is there any wriggle room, so to say? Because we've seen even as 18 rounds of military level talks have been happening, there are certain provocations that come to the fore from the Chinese side, like the renaming of certain places in Arunachal Pradesh, where China wants to claim it's their territory, call it South Tibet.
Well, I think that there is very little chance that either country will concede on their respective claims. And it's been going on for a long, long time. And I think there is too much at stake for both countries to be just stuck in the past as far as the border disputes are concerned. I think that the more positive way forward is to set aside these border disputes, agreeing to disagree, and concentrate on larger areas where both the interests of both countries greatly coincide to a larger extent. For example, the role in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and cooperating with the developing world, which is now gaining ascendance in relation to the geopolitics of the West. So I think that there are lots of at stake between the two countries to cooperate, not so much entirely agreeing with one another, but the two countries should be on the same page. But there is no chance that either country will concede on their claimed territories. As I said, it's been going on for far, far too long. And then the leaders on both countries have sent a clear signal that any kind of confrontation would be would be detrimental to the interests of both countries.
How then do we be on the same page is what I want to ask you, because diplomatically as well, we've seen the kind of commentary that has come to the fore. India's External Affairs Minister has also come out and said that ties between the two countries can never be normal unless there is de-escalation, unless we are back to status quo, and China ensures that they unilaterally do not try to change it.
Well, as I said, I mean, the most important thing is for both the leaders on both countries to, again, send a clear signal to their commanders and those in the field to at least not to escalate, but also working out on larger issues like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. As I said, the developing world is now gaining ascendance. You can see what's happening around the world with even the Middle East and also the relationship with Russia, and then where India and China seem to be more or less on the same page, and rather than just be beholden to the West hymn book. So I think the whole world is changing quite rapidly. I think that it would be destructive for India and for China to be stuck in the past.
Sure. We have to move forward, Ashok Sajjanhar, but how do we do that? Like I said, how do we find common ground when the one thing that we have to talk about and tackle, neither sides want to concede?
Yeah, you know what this gentleman is saying, this matter of particularly of Arunachal Pradesh is not all that distant. It is because China has constantly been removing the goalposts and sort of, bringing them forward. This whole issue of naming Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet and claiming 93,000 square kilometers of Indian land as its own. That is not very long ago. That is only very recent, when China has decided to accept the McMahon line with Myanmar. It is the same McMahon line that is coming here. So it is only very recently, 2005 onwards, that it has started claiming this region also. And I think the fact is what the gentleman is suggesting. India did exactly that when in 1988 we had the visit of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. After that, 5 agreements were signed. And it was agreed between the two sides that we will, on a parallel track, we will keep the border issue on a back burner. And we signed 3 agreements, 93, 96, 2005, 2012, 2013, thereby saying that we will continue to discuss that, but also have discussions on bilateral relations and take them forward.
Sure.
And what has happened in 2020, we had China in violation of all its commitments in all the agreements. It decided to move its troops forward.
Yes.
This was entirely violative of the agreement signed in 1993 and 96. So, it is not once again pushing this to one side, putting this on the back burner. It doesn't work. India is engaging with the developing world. India is engaging with all the other countries. Unfortunately, not with China, because China has violated these agreements that had existed without giving an explanation as to why it has violated.
And one too many times, if I must say so.
So far, we have not really been given any explanation as to why China violated those agreements.
And one too many times, unfortunately, which is why the kind of lack of confidence, as one would say, in taking what China says at face value. What really happens in this particular bilateral between the two defense ministers, we'll find out in just a short while from now. That meeting has already begun. Whether there are some concrete steps that are taken, or is this just more of a setting of the tone? We're also going to be seeing the foreign ministers meeting that is going to happen as far as the G20 is concerned. We're going to be seeing engagement between these two and the two countries coming forward as well. We'll keep a track of that and much more, but unfortunately, I have run out of time, and I'd like to thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us here on this broadcast with your perspective. It's time for a quick break here on this edition of Plain Speak, but on the other side, we have an exclusive conversation with the victim of Bahubali, Anand Mohan's daughter. DM Krishnaya's daughter speaks exclusively to us in just a few minutes from now, even as the killer of her father roams free today.
Our security forces and the establishment has to get it right every single time. And another aspect, it's not at the line of control. It's not in Jammu and Kashmir. It's not at the line of actual control or LAC. It's not in the northeast. It's in these jungles. It's to red terror that we are losing the maximum number of soldiers, our jawans, our personnel. Now, shouldn't there be a stop to this? The big question. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry, with us. Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director India Foundation, and PK Mishraji, former ADG BSF, with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. It tears your heart to talk on the fact that we've lost 11 lives. We've lost people in the line of duty who are doing their jobs. But were they sitting ducks? Were they sitting ducks, PK Mishraji?
Yes, I can well tell you, definitely they were sitting ducks. You were just telling about violation of SOP. Of course, mistakes do happen, but mistakes have happened in Chhattisgarh several times. We have lost more than 150 jawans only in Chhattisgarh. It may be Sukma, it may be Chittagopha, it may be Narayanpur, it may be Kanker. or it may be Bijapur. I have gone to this Jaram Ghati and Darba Ghati after both the incidents where Bichi Shukla was injured and that incident, and how they retreated to Malkangiri through Tulsi Dogri. Those areas also I have seen. Somebody who has gone to Bastar, then only they will come to know how difficult it is to control Bastar area.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for even one corps of army to control Bastar area. Definitely, development is taking place. But you cannot, like the state is telling, it's a law and order problem definitely of the state. But Naxalite problem, yes, it is not alone the law and order it is not a law and order problem, and it is not only with the state. Definitely it is a coordinating affair of both state and center and the intelligence group. They will act together. But the leading role should be taken by Chhattisgarh police itself. Like Punjab police, they took the leading role for wiping out the Khalistani commandos and everything, and Punjab it became quiet. So the same thing has to be done here. CPMMs are there in addition to them. The IRB battalions have to be trained. The local boys who are taken to DRGs, of course the DRGs were local boys. But what about that training? We have got a training center in Kanker from Army, and I hope Chhattisgarh police, they can be well trained in Kanker, and they have to come to the expectation. See, like Andhra and
cannot
Telangana,
drop your guard.
they have done through Greyhound.
One cannot drop their guard at all. The Greyhounds are an example. They're but every time there is a slip up, there is carelessness, there is loss of lives. And Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, PK Mishra ji, Dhruv Katoji, you are all veterans. You've handled explosives, especially, and you know how much explosive is required to get to blow up a road that is more than 10 feet wide, and to blow a hole in that road which is more than 3.5 to 4 feet deep. So Lieutenant General Kulkarni, for somebody to be able to sow that kind of explosives and plant them on that road, which is a tarred road. If you see the road, it's a tarred road on either side, but look at that crater. That's a lot of explosive that has been planted there. 5 feet deep crater is what we are given to understand. General Kulkarni.
You know, what has happened is extremely sad. Something which is avoidable, because we have to have actionable end. Much that everything has been done at all levels. It's very easy to blame so and so should have done this, so and so. What happens is the people on the ground, the boys who are there, maybe the DRG, which are the local tribals as it is brought out, who have been trained or not trained or partially trained into this kind of thing. A kind of complacency sets in. And even last time, if I recollect it, in 2010 or something, when in April, when we lost about 75, when they returned back from operations, this is what happened. We have, until and unless we have good intelligence coming in, we have to have our eyes and ears everywhere. Human end, technical end, kind of mobile tasks that are required to be there. The terrain is extremely, totally jungle. It's not easy. I understand it's not easy. That's the reason what has been there. But notwithstanding that, you find a lot has been done. At a point of time, there were 140 districts affected. They came down to 76. And now that we are just about 46 districts. And who is responsible for most of the 95% of the death, and 90% of all of it is CPM Maoists. These are the people who are involved into it. So it is a very small fraction, and we have to keep a tag of it.
Let's go straight across to T.S. Singh Devji, Cabinet Minister, Chhattisgarh, joining us. Namaste. Thank you for speaking with us here at CNN News 18. My first question to you, Mr. Dev. Were these DRG personnel as good as sitting ducks? Only 10 of them deployed for an anti-Naxal operation.
Not really. As far as I know, though I'm not in Raipur.
Welcome back. Gangster and former Member of Parliament Anand Mohan Singh in Bihar, who was given a lifetime punishment for killing an IAS officer, was released late last night from jail after 15 years. There was a hero's welcome that he was given, and that's the most unfortunate bit, that a convicted killer walked out of jail in the middle of the night like he had done nothing wrong. You know, the man who was convicted of murdering your father walked out of jail at midnight in the dark of the night, but like a hero, there were supporters there waiting outside. He's also planning to have a roadshow. How do you look at this?
Well, this is very disheartening to our entire family and also to the nation that, you know, he had come out today in the morning and he is walking freely. And we've also got news that, you know, he's going to attend some meetings for, you know, to continue his political career. This is very disheartening, definitely not expected out of the Bihar government. And we are hoping that whatever decision has been taken should be taken back. And Anand Mohan should be sent back to jail again.
He should be sent back is what you say, Padma, but are you going to take this up legally to ensure that he is behind bars? Are you going to knock on the doors of the Supreme Court or the High Court perhaps?
Yes, definitely. We today in the morning, my mother has already signed on the papers and we are appealing to the Supreme Court. And our request is that the law should be with us. So I'm hoping that, you know, all of this that is going on, we are speaking so much, the entire nation knows the kind of service that my dad had done. So this should be taken back. And it's just not us, but the entire state of Bihar is also hoping for this. But let's see. We're just hoping that everything changes now.
Yes. Yes, you are hoping for that reversal, and there are many like you in the country that are hoping for that as well. The IAS Association has also come on record in your support. There are many people in the country who've done so. But what is it that you expect? Do you expect the judiciary to, you know, take up your cause? Do you expect that this decision will be reversed?
Well, I'm not 100% confident about this, that this will be taken into consideration, whatever we are speaking and whatever the nation is fighting about. I'm not 100% confident because this is India and people here are still kind of like, you know, only supporting politicians who are bad and who are criminals. So, but I'm just hoping, I am just hoping that it should be taken back. I mean, whatever decision the, you know, the prison manual has been changed is what we got to know. So whatever this is, I mean, it's just not Anand Mohan who is out right now. There are 26 or 27 other more criminals who are walking free on the roads and they can do anything. So whatever rule has come out that Anand Mohan, you know, people are saying that Anand Mohan has been free now, he's suffered like 14 years. Compared to our suffering, I think what he has suffered is like 0%.
Absolutely. And Padma, like you said, that it's not just him. There are 26 others who are also out and, you know, they could do anything now that they're walking free. And coming back to Anand Mohan Singh, now he's a powerful man. He was a gangster turned politician. He's been a Lok Sabha member of parliament on 2 occasions. Do you think that this decision to release him, the kind of welcome that he's got, is only going to embolden him and perhaps others to commit crimes with impunity?
Absolutely, definitely. And this is just encouraging other criminals as well. You know, before there used to be Naxalites, but now it's just the mafia and the gangsters, this thing that's going on around. And it is very, you know, Anand Mohan, I mean, I've seen videos of him that he's carrying guns and roaming around. I'm surprised that Bihar is still so backward, that people there are, you know, are not understanding the kind of difference and they are voting for people like criminals and all of it. This is so disheartening. I'm hoping that Bihar should change. My voice should reach out to Bihar. And I'm sure that, you know, people there should be able to understand the kind of struggle my father had gone through. He had so many policies and thoughtful things that he wanted to do for the state of Bihar. He's not there today. But, I mean, all of this should be thought of before letting that person out.
Absolutely. All of these things should have taken into account, which is why I want to ask you that if you could make a personal appeal to Nitish Kumar, what would that be? You know, you were just 4 or 5 years old when you lost your father. For someone who's lost a parent as young as that, would you like to make a personal appeal to Nitish Kumar? And if yes, what would you want to say to him?
I personally do not want to appeal to Nitish Kumar ji because I don't think he's that, I mean, he's a good person. He's involved, he's kind of like supported Anand Mohan so much to get him out. My direct appeal will be to the Supreme Court and the Prime Minister, but not...
with me Maria Shakil. The campaign trail on the road to Karnataka elections continues to heat up. But the war of words has hit a new low. After calling the Prime Minister Ravan ahead of the Gujarat elections, Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge has sparked another row.